The Marvel Cinematic Universe is now in its fourth phase, and it's already a mess, loaded with so many disparate storylines. There's the Power Broker and Contessa von Longname. No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness have added incursions. There's Kang and the TVA, plus the Celestials and Skrull imposters. We are only halfway through this phase at best, and it's all starting to get a little confusing. What the hell is going on? Let's get to the bottom of it all and find out how all these seemingly disparate plot lines connect. Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is currently represented by 5 released films and 6 series, both limited and ongoing. Hitmonkey and MODOK can take a hike. MCU doesn't care about Hulu, and neither do I. The current films are Black Widow, Shang-Chi, The Eternals, No Way Home, and Doctor Strange 2. Each has elements that tie into the major storylines of Phase 4, as does the series WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, and Moon Knight. There is also the upcoming Ms. Marvel, Thor Love and Thunder, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and The Marvels. Also announced with no set release is the series and films She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, Armor Wars, Ironheart, Blade, Agatha House of Harkness, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, Fantastic Four, and several as yet untitled films and series, including one focusing on Wakanda. Oh my god, stop! Kevin? Stop! Yeah, so it's a lot. Let's get in and break down these ongoing storylines and figure out what Phase 4 is truly about. So where do we start unraveling this thread? Black Widow and Falcon and the Winter Soldier introduced us to Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, played by Veep star Julia Louis-Dreyfus. The Contessa is recruiting superhero-adjacent individuals like the US agent and Yelena. She is forming an alternate team of her own heroes. I'm doing that air quotes thing. Heroes. Contessa is forming what will likely be the Thunderbolts or the Dark Avengers. Both are a team of less than moral air quotes heroes that serve a singular leader, most commonly Norman Osborn. Since the Green Goblin does not exist in the MCU 616, then it stands to reason another person would fill that void. What is the end goal of this group of ne'er-do-wells? The Thunderbolts will position themselves as a more controllable superhero team, just around the time the actual Avengers once again demonstrate a lack of care for international law and collateral damage. The after effects of the snap have already set up precarious situations amongst world powers. There is also the growing micronation of Asgard, which looks to be expanding every day. This could easily lead to a situation like the Marvel event Siege, where the Dark Avengers attack an earthbound Asgard for threatening US territory. The Contessa isn't just going to sit around waiting for this to happen, she's going to engineer this situation with the help of the Power Broker Sharon Carter, who now has access to prototype weaponry. Armor Wars has been announced, which involves the theft of Tony Stark's tech and its distribution amongst various despots and arms dealers. North Korea or Hydra with a fleet of Iron Man suits invading Asgard sounds like the perfect situation to throw some blame on the Avengers. Goodbye, old team. Hello, Dark Avengers. And the best part? All of this will be happening just in time for a full-blown cosmic war, a conflict in the galaxy that will shift the very balance of power.
I see holy war spreading across the universe like unquenchable fire.
This is being set up throughout the more space-based films and series. The first hint of this came in the reveal of Nick Fury's replacement shenanigans. He has his own team of Skrulls running around on the planet posing as himself and other S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Fury is also assembling his own team, with a newly powered Monica Rambeau being the first obvious recruit. Monica has more superhero names than necessary, at various times known as Spectrum, Photon, Pulsar, and other things that sound like cable providers. However, she is also one of the people to carry the name Captain Marvel, so it stands to reason that she will be bringing along Danvers and the about-to-be-introduced Ms. Marvel. The Marvels will involve the 3 joining forces because of the Kree-Skrull War. Yes, the war was going on in the 1990s during the events of Captain Marvel, but it's been in a state of armistice since. However, an outside influence could lead to a sudden end to this ceasefire. Enter the Eternals and their new buddy Star Fox. The ancient weirdos, who were once servants of the celestial Arishem, have now taken to space aboard their ship, the Domo. Along the way, they pick up a Remy the Rat-voiced Goblin and his master Eros, brother to Thanos. In typical sequel bait fashion, he tells them he has a mission for them, and then rudely cuts to black. This mission will involve aiding the new Skrull homeworld in some way. The Kree are sitting around, and they have seen drastic power shifts with the destruction of Xandar by Thanos, so they are getting a little antsy about establishing their own power in the galaxy. The Supreme Intelligence sees the Nova Corp decimated, and the Skrulls gaining power by allying with people like the Marvels and the Eternals. Now it's time to act, and they do so with the sudden appearance of another potential ally. Yes, it's the coming of the one who remains, and there are a lot more of them now. Loki, you broke the sacred timeline and created a temporal multiverse. Now there's an infinite amount of Kangs on their way to duke it out. Kang the Conqueror will be the worst amongst them. While there may not necessarily be an army of Kangs on the way, we know at least one of them has something to guide him to the MCU 616. Shang-Chi and his newly acquired 10 rings are last seen being pondered over by Wong, Banner, and Carol. The rings are not like anything any of them have seen before, and since the son of the Mandarin put them on, they have been broadcasting an ominous signal. As Shang-Chi's aunt so helpfully explained, the secret village Ta Lo was built by the refugees of another universe. They entered the MCU 616 while escaping the Mega Soul Sucker and his minions. Hey, do you know who has a history of weaponizing interdimensional god monsters? Yes, the Dweller in Darkness may have been sent to the Ta Lo universe by a Kang variant who weaponized it. Since it destroyed that world, it's been trying to punch a hole into the 616 for centuries. What if this is the whole reason for weaponizing the Dweller in Darkness? Because it was one of the few living beings capable of breaching through the multiverse. Yes, the portal was created by that dragon, but the Dweller breached into Ta Lo's universe in the first place. It makes sense though, as this is essentially Wanda's plan for America Chavez. So Kang has a way into the 616 now, several even. When he gets there, he will need to establish himself. After all, what is a conqueror without an army? And the Kree are an army waiting for a leader. It's unclear if he will manipulate the Supreme Intelligence or just replace it, but he is fully capable of both. So you have a full-scale cosmic war between the Kree and the Skrulls that pulls in heroes like the Marvels and the Eternals. Both have the potential to drag Earth into the conflict, and the galactic disorder may even catch the attention of the Celestials, who are feeling more vulnerable than ever thanks to one of their newborns being turned to stone. Meanwhile, the governments of Earth are turning to the newly formed Dark Avengers, who, as you would expect, make a big mess of it further. And while all of this is going on, galactic wars and armor wars and Dark Avengers and angry Celestials, Nick Fury is going about his true goal of preparing for the biggest threat yet: multiversal incursion and the destruction of the Omniverse. So Multiverse of Madness came out and made everyone who watched Loki very confused. At the end of the first season, Loki's female variant, Sylvie, killed the Kang who was maintaining the sacred timeline, thus allowing branches that would produce infinite multiverses. So this is the start of the multiverse, right? Well, you're very wrong, and you should be ashamed for thinking this, is what Papa Marvel would have to say. Because when Doctor Strange meets multiverse traveler America Chavez, he passes through various already existing universes featuring drastic changes like being in black and white, or everything is made of paint. Clearly, these worlds feature variation far beyond changes in a timeline. When he meets the Illuminati of 838, he is told that they have stood guard against multiversal incursions. These are events where one universe affects another so much that they collide and eventually one or both are destroyed. This is a bad thing. It also breeds animosity and hostility between multiverses. It's like if every time you had a guest, there was a chance one or both of your apartments would explode. You would be picky about who you invite over, and you would especially hate drop-ins. No, you can't come in, Todd! Because you're not worth exploding over! We were co-workers at best. how do you resolve these revelations about the ending of Loki? It's easy, and you explain it by a single number, 616. The 616 universe has long been established as the prime universe of the Marvel Comics, from the 1940s adventures of Captain America to the modern issues. But thanks to Dr. Selvig, Mysterio, and the Illuminati, we know that the prime MCU universe is also 616. Can both exist at the same time? Yes, they are part of separate multiverses that exist together in the Omniverse. It's like a pomegranate, and each seed is a multiverse full of delicious, red, juicy superhero drama. Incursion will be the metaphorical juicer, popping each world into the spritzer of oblivion. The destruction of the multiverses, both temporal and cosmic, will mean the destruction of the Omniverse. The Omniverse. The Omniverse. The risk is amplified by the existence of both America Chavez and a literal dragon that can move between universes. So how does this all really fit together, though? Is it all random and messy, or is it actually an intricately laid plan by one lone individual? It's time to reveal the true mastermind behind it all. Yes, from Contessa Valentina to Kang's Kree army, and even the destruction of the multiverse, there stands one genius mind. None other than Marvel's greatest villain, Arcade.
Not Dr. Doom?
Ha! No, he could never live up to the pure intellect of the master of death traps. And what is Phase 4 but one giant death trap for our heroes? As I've demonstrated, every move they make will lead to war and destruction. It's perfect. There are various hints that he is the true villain. Firstly, there is the repeated motif of the maze. Black Widow's secret agent mom Melina is training pigs to navigate a wooden maze. And the entrance to Talo is a maze in a moving forest. Mazes are the kind of attraction that Arcade has used in his deadly theme parks. It's indisputable. Yes, Arcade, who is so good no one even knows his real name, is setting up the ultimate death trap for the MCU. Why? Because of his insatiable drive to build the perfect theme park-based traps. What's a common complaint critics have made about the MCU as of late? That the movies are bland attractions filled with meaningless noise. Just like a roller coaster. It all connects, people. Arcade hired the Contessa to destabilize global politics just in time for him to aid Kang's entrance into the 616 universe by using the 10 rings to broadcast a signal. The 10 rings are big gold rings, much like the rings that are collected by the blue speedster Sonic. Sonic is a video game, and video games are found in arcades. It's so simple, people. After Kang restarts the Kree-Skrull War, which destabilizes the galaxy just in time for a full-blown multiverse conflict that results in the destruction of not just the MCU, but the entire Omniverse. No more MCU, no more Marvel Comics, or animated series, or even branded cereal. No more Marvel. The MCU is a giant theme park that only leads to a fatal trap. And who is the mastermind, the pure genius who will bring an end to all of Marvel? Kevin Feige. That's why he doesn't have a real name, to hide that his plan was to consolidate all Marvel media into one multiverse and then destroy it in one perfect stroke. My God, if this is all true, then that means there's no more Marvel, ever. What will I do with my life if I can't make YouTube videos dissecting the minutiae of a cinematic franchise? I need some time to process this. I feel so empty. Hi. I've had some time to search my feelings and process all this information, and I've come to a realization. Needless to say, I may be drawing some drastic conclusions based on admittedly flimsy connections. I was forced to ask myself why I needed to see all these connections in the random chaos of both the universe and the multi-platform global franchise that is Marvel. Things have never been part of some perfect plan, just the chaos of life and cross-promotional storytelling. This is the heart of Phase 4. The blip and the events leading up to it were a galactic trauma. Every single film or series in Phase 4 has dealt with the fallout of this trauma. Wanda lost vision and then was snapped. When she returned, she hadn't had the 5 years to process this pain. It caused her to lash out, take over a small town, and then hunt an innocent girl across the multiverse. Nick Fury lost 5 years of intelligence and is now overcompensating by leading a Skrull infiltration team. That's if if that secret was even snapped in the first place. I could go on and on. In preparation for this video, I watched all the Phase 4 releases in under a week. I gained a few things from this research, including a deep resentment for CGI-based climaxes. Most of all, though, I gained a new appreciation for the kind of work it takes to move past immense trauma and loss, personal or galactic. Whether it's attending therapy like Bucky, spending time with family like Hawkeye, working to make the world better like Sam, or growing as a person like Loki, there are steps to recover, and it's important to take them. Life is a lot like the MCU. It keeps going on and on, whether we're ready or not. Tomorrow is another day, and it'll probably bring an announcement about an Alpha Flight movie or something.